Good evening and welcome to TalkBack, the show where we ask tough, compelling questions from tough, compelling people. Our guest tonight has survived for more than 3 decades in Pakistani politics and in the process has crossed several landmarks. She was the first woman elected through universal suffrage in the country. She was also the first woman to be sent as an ambassador to the United States. She has held several ministries and several portfolios in the federal government. She has moved from the progressive left to the center right and now back. Her friends call her Chandi Bibi. We simply call her the Begum. Begum Syeda Abida Hussain. Welcome to TalkBack.
Thank you.
Your critics have said that you've crisscrossed and maybe even compromised your principles. Your track record has taken you from the PPP to the NDP to being independent to the PMLN to the PMLQ, now back to the PPP. So what exactly is your philosophy?
I believe in democracy. That is my basic belief, that the will of the people must prevail. The people are sovereign. We own this country, and it is for the people to mandate their representatives who then govern. Now, from age 12 to age 61, I've crossed this passage of my life under intermittent shadow of military rule. And military rule is invasive. So it means what? It means that all political processes get interrupted. And politics does not flow in the normal course. Lack of principles, well, I don't think.
But don't you think it's a little inconsistent though? From the left to
All
the
right.
right, back to the left?
Okay, now don't you think that it is a world that has changed enormously? After all, the world that I was growing up in was a world that was Cold War driven. There was a left wing and a right wing. There was communism and there was capitalism. The issues today are totally different. We're living in a global village. We're living with money markets that dominate many aspects of life. We're living with a breakdown of ideological frontiers as we knew them 20 years previous or 30 years previous. So the world changes, it evolves, and all of us within it must obviously also evolve. However, we are talking principle. I believe in democracy. I believe in honesty. I believe in a work ethic. I believe that one must always say it like one believes it to be. And I don't think that I have faulted on that.
And that may have taken you on both sides of the fence, but that's all right.
Of course it's all right. Of course it's all right. I don't think that there are ever any permanents. I have remained democratically consistent. I have been critical of military tin pot dictators, whether it was a Ziaul Haq or whether it is a Pervez Musharraf. I have not taken anything from my state by way of plots or buildings or land or anything. Whatever I have is what I have inherited, worked, and I have been a regular taxpayer.
But you and your husband have both been touted in the past as very, very severely anti-PPP politicians. In fact, so much so to the extent that your husband once said that any Punjabi who voted for the PPP was a traitor to the Punjab, which is where you're from.
Suffice it to say that we have been on the other side of the divide to the Pakistan People's Party. My husband, as well as myself, we have been harsh critics of both the Muslim League as well as the People's Party. We were conscientious objectors within the Muslim League for the same reason, and that is a lack of transparency, that politics is a means or ought to be a means to enrich yourself. We believe that it is
But you've
entirely...
called the very same PPP, which you have now joined, which has given you a ticket, you've called them corrupt. You've filed a lawsuit against them on the very basis of corruption.
I stand by what I've just said, which is that for myself, as well as for my spouse, transparency in governance has been an issue. It was an issue in the past, it remains an issue.
So what has changed between then and now? What has changed with your position on the PPP earlier
At the
and
moment,
the
the
PPP
Pakistan
now?
People's Party is not in government. The Pakistan People's Party has not been in government for 10 years. The choices for someone like myself were, should I call it a day? You know, I've bummed around in politics all these years. I've not secured any personal advantage. I've spent my own hard-earned money. I paid due taxes. Should I call it a day? Or should I hang in there to see a transition back to a democratic moment?
But
In that context,
is that why? Because the PPP, because of the so-called alleged deal which might be happening, is that why you are back with the PPP? Because you see them on power, on the horizon?
no, I know, no.
Because
I'm
this
not
is the
even
very
sure.
same PPP
No,
which you have criticized vociferously in the
listen,
past.
just a minute. The past is the past. Now, every political organization has a right to improve itself. Every political leader evolves and develops and grows. Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto became Prime Minister the first time when she was 35 years old, second time when she was 38 years old. If she is Prime Minister a third time, she will be in her full maturity. All of what she has been through has developed her, evolved her. All of what you or I go through, develop her. I assure you that you must be in your 30s or just crossed 30. In another 10 years from now, 20 years from now, you will have evolved, you will have developed, we all do. Now, one more thing on the People's Party and power. Number one, there is absolutely no certainty whatsoever that the People's Party will come into power, because the People's Party has to go to the people to get votes. The people are sovereign. What the People's Party is looking for, and the reason that I'm at the moment, a proud member of the People's Party, is that the People's Party is the only political organization in this country that has gone systematically in its approach on the context of obtaining free and fair elections. The People's Party is the party that took the issue of the electoral rolls to court. The People's Party's leader is the leader who has systematically broken down all of the electoral malpractices that deny the sovereign, which is the people, their right to be represented in the way that they choose for the moment.
But with all due respect, madam, you've called the same Prime Minister, the former Prime Minister you're talking about, you've compared her to a queen, you've called her a phenomenon which is not very natural, in fact unnatural. You have said, this is a quote from you in Reuters, saying that she's proved her immaturity, her lack of sagacity, lack of wisdom, lack of comprehension and lack of vision. In fact, you have even criticized her pregnancy while in office. And coming back to the point that third time around, you think she might have developed more and might have learned from the past. You've even criticized two capped rulers, not just Mohtarma Benazir Bhutto, but also Mia Nawaz Sharif. You've criticized them on national television. In April 2005, you said two capped rulers are constitutionally deviant, and the past experience with them was bad.
Okay,
so who is this new Abida Hussain, and why is this Abida Hussain saying all of these things?
This is an Abida Hussain who has understood, and I hope that you also would have understood, that we all learn from errors, from struggle. Let me ask you something. Is life or politics or democracy or any notion, is it about standing still? Is it about being static?
So you've
Is
moved
it
on.
about finalities? No.
You've moved on.
Of course,
You've
we all
lived and
move
learned.
on. Of course, we age, we mature, we learn, we lose, we gain, we win. That's life.
By looking inconsistent, would you agree with your positions?
Look, you have a right to your perspective and your opinion and your impressions. My immediate concern, my friend, is that I always am able to look myself in the mirror and ask myself whether I've done wrong or not. The people are a good and honest judge, and I rest my case with the people.
We have to take a short break here. We're talking to Begum Syeda Abida Hussain. Stay tuned to TalkBack.